I think we saw signs of Chuba in the second half once he knew, like, hey, it's my chance. I think you saw him and Royce make some plays, and I think you saw Sam put some stuff on his shoulders. So I would expect our guys to come out. That's just what it is. It's the way this league goes. I saw the Vikings did Dalvin Cook's questionable for Sunday. I mean, that's being a running back in the NFL. So, but I want to make sure I said that. Christian is the best team, one of the best teammates I've ever been around. He doesn't want this to be his team, and I think I want our guys, all of them. Hey, everyone does their job. Cam does his job. Shaq does his job, and then if we don't have Christian, those guys all have to just overcome it.
And they did a nice job last night without Christian McCaffrey. Sam Darnold was very good. Chuba Hubbard was on the field for 42 snaps, had 11 carries for 50-plus yards. So they can still get it done. The defense is the key to this Panthers team. Yes, it would be nice to have a healthy Christian McCaffrey. They only had McCaffrey last season for 3 games. He was injured in week 2. He came back. He got injured again. It was a hamstring last night that went, and we'll see how long he's out. But they've got to get it done without him, Miles, and I think they can. And here it is. There's the moment the hamstring goes. You see him hobble a little bit, and that was that. It wasn't even a game that was played of questionable or probable or whatever. He was done. That was it. They knew right away he wasn't playing again last night, and we'll see when he comes back.
Yeah, I really do think it is unfortunate for him, because now he's had so many different things that he's had to deal with when it comes to injuries over the last 2 years, when this is a guy that really had not had to play through any kind of injury until last year, or at least hadn't suffered something that he couldn't play through, I guess I should say. So look, with McCaffrey, it's just now you really feel like things have to get a little bit more on Sam Darnold's shoulders. You saw Matt Rhule mention that in that clip right there. And I think Sam Darnold has played pretty well over these first 3 games. And honestly, it's a little bit surprising to me just how well he's played. And I know that we can all play this is what happens when you get away from Adam Gase game. And we saw it with Ryan Tannehill there in Tennessee. Now we're starting to see it with Sam Darnold in Carolina. But the one thing that he's got to stop doing, and this is, I think, something that's going to become even more important if Christian McCaffrey is out for an extended period of time, is like flirting with the danger of turning the ball over. Those fumbles last night, he had 2 of them. You got to keep 2 hands on the ball when you're in the pocket. You have to make sure that ball is secure. That's been a problem for Sam Darnold going all the way back to his time at USC when he was in college, right? So this is just something that he's got to correct, because eventually those things are going to catch up to you, especially if you don't have the outlet of Christian McCaffrey that you can just dump the ball down to, and then he's going to make guys miss and maybe get 7-8 yards on a check down.
One thing about McCaffrey, I saw someone tweet today, and I didn't sense that there was any criticism in the tweet, but it's the kind of thing that invites criticism of McCaffrey, a breakdown of how much money he's received under his new contract, how many total snaps he's taken, how many touches he's had, and obviously it skews in his favor, but that's fine. That's what running backs should do. They should get paid as soon as possible. They should get the financial security because of the possibility that they will be injured. They play a position that is conducive to injury, so I wouldn't criticize a guy who has had not many snaps and not many touches since he got his huge contract. I would applaud him for making his move at the right time and putting the injury risk on the team. Not that the Panthers would be considering not keeping Christian McCaffrey, but the bottom line is he got them to pay him after 3 years, and he's been injured a lot, and good for him to have the security that he deserves based upon his potential and based upon what he did his first 3 years in the league. So don't criticize guys like that. Don't criticize Ezekiel Elliott, because he's getting a ton of money, and Tony Pollard is out playing him right now. Ezekiel Elliott held out at the right time to force the Cowboys to give him the kind of contract. They can't cut him. They owe him $12.9 million next year, fully guaranteed. He wins. Oh, he's tailed off some. Oh, you're not as good as you used to be. Well, guess what? I drew a line in the sand when I was as good as I was ever going to be, and I got myself a ton of financial security because of it. That's a guy that wins.
Absolutely. And frankly, I mean, I like to think of it sometimes as services rendered, right? When we're talking about Christian McCaffrey, he became only the 3rd player in NFL history to rush for 1,000 yards and also have 1,000 yards receiving in the same season. And that was in 2019 before all these injuries started to pop up. So listen, I think Christian McCaffrey is worth every penny. Now, is he going to be able to get back on the field and stay on the field? We don't know that. But when he is there, you know he's a dynamic player. You know he's a threat to take the ball to the house every single play. And because of that, he got paid what he got paid, right? I mean, he's not just your typical running back. He also has that receiving threat. He can line up anywhere on the field and make plays. So, as a fan of football, you hope that he gets better and he can stay on the field for the rest of the year because, man, is he fun to watch.
And this is part of the reality of using a top 10 draft pick on a Christian McCaffrey. Hey, the Panthers could have had Patrick Mahomes. They could have had Deshaun Watson. They went with Christian McCaffrey. You make him the centerpiece of your offense. And when it's time to pay him, you've got no choice. If it works out, yeah, you're going to pay him. Either it doesn't work out and he's Saquon Barkley, and Barkley is still waiting for his second contract, and he may never get one from the Giants. And one very basic truth about running backs in the NFL, Myles, they usually only get big money from the team they've always played for. On the open market, that name means much less to a different team. Le'Veon Bell's the only one that's ever really cashed in as a free agent. And in hindsight, the Jets would say we never should have done that contract that we did. It's always getting the money from the current team because there's a business and political reason to being able to say to your fans, hey, all those jerseys you bought are not worthless. We're keeping this guy who's the touchdown machine, who's the guy you love, who's the guy that you are paying to come see. We're keeping him on the team.
Absolutely. I mean, a guy that I covered for years is a perfect example of that with Todd Gurley, right? I mean, the Rams were basically like, yeah, we want to pay this guy because he had 40 touchdowns within 2 seasons. That's ridiculous. Now, they paid him, I believe, before the 2018 season, and that was the year that, he got 20-plus touchdowns. But at the same time, when you saw what Todd Gurley did in 2017, you're like, all right, well, this is a guy that you have already built your offense around. You believe that he's going to be able to continue at that high level. And frankly, for most of that year in 2018, he did. And then he suffered that knee injury against the Eagles late in the season, and it just wasn't ever the same after that. So, look, there's, I think, a reason, exactly what you're saying, why teams like to pay their own running backs, especially the ones that they get in the first round. But, there's always that risk because they play a position that gets injured so often. And I think, Derrick Henry is one of these only guys that we've seen, and knock on wood that it continues this way, where he just takes a licking and he keeps on ticking. And it is just really fun to watch him go up against defenses every week as guys try not to get embarrassed.
And you never quite know when that guy's going to fall off a cliff physically. Even without one specific injury, a Titans running back from years ago, Eddie George, never had that catastrophic knee injury, never had that thing that he was going to have to fight and scratch and claw his way back from. He just got to a point after so many years, that's it. It doesn't work like it used to, and inevitably that's going to happen to Derrick Henry. The question is whether he walks away before it actually occurs, but he's as good as ever so far this year for the Titans.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.